Evening, everyone, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French, and thank you for joining us this evening. The Democratic Convention, it's halfway over. It shifts into high gear with a slew of very big names speaking tonight. Now, we're going to hear from Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Warren, Gabby Giffords, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, and more. And on the final night, Thursday, Michael Bloomberg, Senator Cory Booker, California Governor Gavin Newsom, Pete Buttigieg, and then, of course, none other than Joe Biden. Now, we'll be live from 9 until at least 11 Eastern, both nights, bringing you full coverage of the speeches, plus we'll have expert analysis as well, just as we have the first two nights. Now, we're going to be taking a look ahead to tonight's program in a little bit, but first, the memories from night 2 of the DNC, and it's received, I would say, with exception of the president or his apologists, almost universally high marks. Here with the highlights, senior political correspondent Andrew Whitman. And Andrew, we'll talk in a little bit of the program with Representative Clyburn. And he even acknowledged just how different it is. But he said he kind of likes this way more. It's more intimate. It feels it's more substance, less pro forma. It forces you to get to the point. You don't have crowds, but it's different. And I think, me personally, and we've both done conventions, there's more there.
It certainly lets them convey their messaging in a more personal way from an individual standpoint and not really the rhetorical speeches that we're used to, Rich. But still, a lot of moments from last night seem to register with people on the political level and also in some very personal ways. And the two actually came together as the convention focused on foreign policy, a slate of foreign policy officials who worked under presidents from both parties, including former Republican Senator and later Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel, all listing the myriad ways they think Joe Biden would be better on world affairs than Donald Trump. That bipartisan outreach continued as Colin Powell explained why he was endorsing Biden. And that moment reached its peak as a video narrated by Cindy McCain detailed the unique friendship forged between Biden and John McCain, the Republican nominee for president in 2008.
It was a friendship that shouldn't have worked. But in the 1970s, Joe was assigned a military aide for a trip overseas.
I was the Navy's Senate liaison and used to carry your bags on overseas trips.
The son of a gun never carried my bags. He was supposed to carry my bags, damn it, but he never carried my bags. We've always been willing, when we thought the other guy was right, cross the aisle and lock arms. It's good for the country.
And when millions of Americans were faced with losing their health insurance, it was Joe's friend who saved Obamacare by crossing the aisle.
McCain casts his vote with a thumbs down.
John and I have been given several awards about bipartisanship. We don't understand why you should get an award for bipartisanship.
Thank you for your example. I'm proud to remain the same good guy that you were when you first got here. Most of all, for your friendship. My life and the lives of many have been enriched by it.
Another moment people are talking about, the first ever virtual roll call of states featuring some regular Americans and others who brought special messages to the moment. Like the parents of Matthew Shepard, murdered at 22 for being gay. They represented Wyoming. Gold Star father and Trump target Kazir Khan represented Virginia during the roll call. Fred Gutenberg, a gun rights activist whose daughter was killed at Parkland under the Florida banner. The union workers of Nevada showing in all their splendor. Rhode Island got all kinds of attention for putting fried calamari and the guy who cooked it on the air. And in Tennessee, a college student celebrating 100 years of women's suffrage. Later, more tugs at the heartstrings as ALS victim and healthcare advocate Addie Barkin held court.
Hey Carl, it's me, Dad. By the time you're watching this, you will have grown up to be strong and courageous, but I don't know how much longer I'll be around for you. I was diagnosed with ALS today.
Hello America. My name is Addie Barkin, and I am speaking to you through this computer voice because I have been paralyzed by a mysterious illness called ALS. Like so many of you, I have experienced the ways our healthcare system is fundamentally broken. We must elect Joe Biden. Each of us must be a hero for our communities, for our country, and then, with a compassionate and intelligent president, we must act together and put on his desk a bill that guarantees us all the health care we deserve.
The final speaker last night was Dr. Jill Biden, who spoke from the school where she once taught. She spoke about COVID using the classroom as an example of the nation's difficulties. She also said why she thinks her husband is the right man for the moment we face.
This quiet is heavy. You can hear the anxiety that echoes down empty hallways. I hear it from so many of you. The frustration of parents juggling work while they support their children's learning, or are afraid that their kids might get sick from school. The concern of every person working without enough protection. The despair in the lines that stretch out before food banks. And the indescribable sorrow that follows every lonely last breath when the ventilators turn off. How do you make a broken family whole? The same way you make a nation whole. With love and understanding, and with small acts of kindness, with bravery, with unwavering faith. You show up for each other in big ways and small ones, again and again. It's what so many of you are doing right now for your loved ones, for complete strangers, for your communities. There are those who want to tell us that our country is hopelessly divided, that our differences are irreconcilable. But that's not what I've seen over these last few months. We have shown that the heart of this nation still beats with kindness and courage. That's the soul of America Joe Biden is fighting for now.
And after her speech was over, Jill's husband, now the official Democratic nominee for president, joined her.
Great job. God, lovely. How are you? Hey, everyone. I'm Jill Biden's husband. As you heard tonight, excuse me, you can see why she's the love of my life, the rock of our family. She never gives herself much credit, but the truth is, she's the strongest person I know. She's a backbone like a ramrod. She loves fiercely, cares deeply. Nothing stops her when she sets her mind to getting something right. And you know, for all of you out there across the country, just think of your favorite educator who gave you the confidence to believe in yourself. That's the kind of first lady this Jill Biden will be.
Rich.
And you know, we didn't have time to show it, but I thought by far the most powerful thing was their biography together. And the video of when he lost his family, or his first wife and their daughter, and how she came into the situation. You know, a lot of people knew the story, but to me, they established Joe Biden in the first two nights as a good person, and a relatable one with empathy, that you won't be scared that'll be in the Oval. I still think, and we'll talk about later on what we can expect to hear tonight, we've already gotten excerpts from President Obama and others, which will go directly at the current president, but they need to establish that he wasn't just in the room, that he's got his own vision. And like I said, we'll talk about it. But the one thing that struck me, at least, when I heard Joe Biden talk, and in the video, they talked about how, you know, even as First Lady, she said, hey, can I go back to teaching at a community college and all the rest? And she said, I understand how scared. For the last 4 years, the public has been talked at. Maybe some people want that, but they haven't been talked to. And I was just thinking, as simple as, we have not had a national dialogue from the White House about, I know how scared you parents must be. What's the right decision? Do you send your kids back? And I know you teachers are worried about, you know, you need the paycheck, but at the same end, at what price? Just understanding, and like many people, I got kids, I gotta, make these calculations myself, but I've never been able to think the White House cares what I think, or this White House, or for that matter, wants to even acknowledge it. It was denials, there was blame, but there was never a dialogue. Last night, to me, Andrew, felt like we started to have a dialogue, an acknowledgement that things are not where we want them to be right now in the country. Forget whose fault it is for the moment. And I think, I don't know anymore, God knows I got it wrong in 16, but I think more people than not want to be talked to and not at. And I think if they've done anything right in the first couple nights, they've done that. And that there are people like you out there who can actually be elected officials that aren't going to be causing, tweet storms on a daily basis. Don't know if he's going to be a great president, a good one or a bad one, but at least he can relate to you. And he won't yell at you. It sounds like a low bar to cross, but I think they got that done in the first 2 nights. And I think, for one, it went some way. It went to a certain degree that meant something.
Well, 2 things. One, they've made a point every night of the convention thus far, and they will continue to do it again tonight, to feature Joe Biden in the middle of a conversation with Americans on particular issues. Last night it was about health care. And he's talking to people in the monitors as he's talking to them remotely, but it's showing that he's listening in a way that I think speaks to not being lectured at by the White House and a president who actually empathizes and can relate and will be focused on the issues that are of concern to voters. And I think that's why they're showing that. I think they're also trying to humanize him and show him as almost an everyman. He's talked for years about his roots in Scranton and that sort of thing. I want to play for you, if I can, a clip from that video that was introducing Jill Biden last night, because it's the story of how they fell in love. It came after the death of his first wife and his daughter. And he talks about how important she was, and it really did play out like something of a love story.
I was 30 and I was a senator and I was a widower. Several years earlier, a tractor trailer broadsided my wife and 3 children. My wife was killed, my daughter was killed. I wasn't big on the whole date scene thing. But when I met Jill, I fell in love with her when I saw her.
I've got sunshine on a cloudy day.
So, again, just a snippet of his personal story, but I thought also very humanizing in a way that will be relatable to people and may connect them to Joe Biden.
Another thing that we've gotten used to so many different things, but look at the people who stood up yesterday and said not only can they not support President Trump, but they're going to support and go across party lines to support Joe Biden, Colin Powell, Chuck Hagel. How about foreign people who spent their lives in foreign diplomacy?
We heard from Maria Yovanovitch, the former ambassador to Ukraine.
Yovanovitch. I mean, Yates more on the DOJ side, but still, people who've tried to be as apolitical in their life as they possibly can be. They all went there. And not only did they say, I can't in good conscience support my old boss, but I'm going to support somebody from the other party. And I think people shouldn't make the mistake to think that this is normal. This doesn't happen. No. And it is such an indictment on someone that they worked with and how scared they are that they went to this degree to say, you can't trust this man, meaning President Trump, 4 more years.
The cherry on top of all that was John McCain and the video narrated by Cindy McCain. This is a man who 12 years ago was the Republican nominee for president, ran against Obama and Biden, and now essentially posthumously endorsing Joe Biden in all this. And the nature of their friendship also, I think, speaks to a level that Donald Trump has never met, a mark that he's never met. He is the most partisan president I think any of us can remember. And to see the examples of not just their ability to work together, but their friendship across party lines, I don't know if Donald Trump has a Democratic friend.
Well, but Andrew, think about, and I don't want to get to next week because there's so much ahead of us both tonight and tomorrow, but would you be more surprised if George W. Bush came out in support of Joe Biden more than Donald J. Trump? The last Republican president, I would be far more surprised, and he already said he wouldn't, than to supporting the current president than the Democratic challenger.
I don't think there's much of a chance that he would endorse Biden, but there's zero chance he'll endorse Trump.
And that's where we are right now. Yep. So it was really a notable night here. And as we said, tonight, a major evening, and most notably, what will and how far will both Hillary Clinton go? You know she's got a lot on her mind after the election of 2016, and where will Barack Obama go? Will he take the lead of Michelle Obama and eviscerate this president, or will he spend more of his time talking about the bona fides of one Joe Biden, his former vice president? All right, when we come back, one of the most powerful people in the House of Representatives, he'll join us to discuss the post office scandal, President Trump ginning up chaos when it comes to voting, as well as his take on the convention. House Majority Whip James Clyburn joins us next.